Hello, everybody, welcome to Unscripted Access, episode number 103. You're here with your host, Nick McCandless. On this week's show, we've got Bronson Fiore,
What's up?
Bremen Milan,
What's up?
and Anthony Ta.
Hello.
Alright, guys, we're back with another episode. Unfortunately, we don't have Bremen for the entire podcast, and Bremen just happens to be our... I don't know, do any of you guys like to play the NBA games, whether it's 2K or the live franchise?
I'm always on NBA 2K, man.
Yeah, Bremen is like our NBA guru. So while we have him, that's going to be our first topic. So we've seen the trailer for NBA 2K15, and it looks amazing. NBA 2K14 looked amazing, but 2K15 even looks better.
Yeah.
And everyone's like, oh, because NBA Live 14 was garbage. Like, just straight up, like, down the shitter garbage compared to 2K14. Like, it's so bad. So everyone's like, so EA, 2K15 trailer. The 2K15 trailer came out and it looks amazing. You guys haven't released a trailer. It probably means your game looks like shit. Well, they just released their trailer for NBA Live 15. And I will say, it does look a lot better than Live 14. That's not really saying much, because Live 14 pretty much looked like...
terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful. Don't get me started.
I'm not
So saying
even
that it
like
looked
a basketball fan. Like, I'm a very casual basketball fan. I only really know the biggest players. And, like, I saw it and I played a little bit. I was like, this is really bad.
So NBA Live 14, isn't that the one where they showed with the Ignite engine and the what was it, the flailing lip?
Oh,
Was that
yeah,
something
man,
else?
it's just like Madden NFL 25, though. Madden NFL 25, they were talking about, Ignite engine. It didn't look really any better than the PS3 version.
I somehow
Xbox
can't
360.
help
It
but
looked
feel but the
slightly better. It looked slightly better and ran smoother.
I can't help but
not
feel that the
till-
real Ignite game was Madden 15, and 14
let me
and
just-
25 was
NFL
just
15 Madden NFL 15 looks great.
yeah, like 15
Let
like
me
it
just
looks like
say,
the real
dude.
Ignite game, whereas Madden 25 looks like a ported Infinity engine.
The NBA Live game that came out, which was the 14 one, that was garbage. I mean, when I first saw the preview of it, like when they were showing it at E3, it looked alright. I'm like, okay, this might be something good. And then it comes out, you're like, dude, this is like a freaking old ass freaking NBA freaking piece of shit game now.
06.
Yeah, it looks like a fucking old freaking PS2 game. How the hell is this supposed to be next gen? Are you guys fucking serious?
Yeah, so EA released the trailer for NBA Live 15, and it looks a lot better. Like I said, it's not saying much, but let's hand it over to Bremen to get his impressions. What do you think of the NBA Live 15 trailer?
Okay, trailer-wise, it looks good. As always, you know, you can't tell how good it's going to be until you actually play it, which is what happened with NBA Live 14. I thought it looked good, you know, at first, and then you play the game and you're like, well, what the fuck is this? You know, and I'm hoping they improve a lot. I mean, they need to improve a lot in this game. So what I'm hoping for is, you know, the same feeling as when I'm playing NBA 2K15 or 2K14. Because, you know, the 2K games have been so good. And this year's 2K15 looks even friggin' better. So, you know, I'm excited for 2K15 than I am for, obviously, for live. Because if they announce it, I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, another live game. Sweet. Yeah, you guys have fun with that. You know, it looks good for visual. It's going to matter, of course, is when you play the game. So I'm afraid if I ever get a hands on it, which I will, you know, you get to play it, how it's gonna feel like when you're playing it. Like, will it make you feel like you're actually watching a telecast, you know, a live broadcast of a game like NBA 2K does, which they already added the freaking halftime report with Ernie Johnson and Shaquille O'Neal, which, you know, I wish it would have Charles Barkley and Kennedy Jet Smith, but, you know, you take what you can get. But still, it would look, you know, they're stepping up their game already. Whereas, you know, with EA, with their live games, you think that they, you know, when they would say, oh yeah, we're improving this, the dribble animations, and the ball will hit the people if you dribble it the wrong way or whatnot. NBA 2K already had that too. There's, you know, I'm hoping for a better hold on, the words I'm looking for. It has to feel like you're watching a live telecast and you're playing the game at the same time. It has to feel like, you know, if you're a true NBA fan, you want that kind of feeling. And by the way, the commentating too, which is, you know, goes for me too, is that's a plus too. Because with 2K14, when I played it, as shitty as the game was, the commentating didn't help either. It's like they were bored.
Oh yeah, just like the commentators of Madden.
Yes, exactly. They're just bored. Like
And he called the
you would
boss
do
to
an
the 20,
yeah,
to the
yeah,
10, to the 5
do an awesome
touchdown.
play. Yeah, let's say you do an awesome play where you do an alley-oop, and you didn't think you were able to do it. You pull it off. They're still just call it like like a regular alley-oop. Whereas in 2K, obviously with them, they could be in the middle of a conversation and you would pull like a big ass move, and then bam, they would cut straight into like yelling like, "Oh, oh my god!" And that adds on to the feel of when you're playing it, And I'm hoping that with 2K with Live 15 that maybe they learn from all that shit and they would fix that part. Besides the gameplay, yeah, the gameplay we're hoping we're always open for it to improve, but you got to add in the presentation too, because that's what makes it feel like it's actual NBA game, which 2K, they got it right. Of course, they got some stuff that need to improve, but those little things that need to improve, you don't even notice that shit, Whereas a live game, every time I play it, I'm like, wow, it just doesn't feel right. It's not a basketball game to me. It just feels, awful. That's my take on it so far.
Yeah, and so here's the thing. Like I said, Bronson and I, we did a spoiler cast from NFL 15. I'll give EA a pretty decent amount of praise. NFL 15 is a pretty fucking good football game.
It's definitely the best Madden in fucking forever.
Yeah. There's still a lot of problems, such as the commentary, the horrible menus, the delayed audibles. There's just plenty of issues. But they fixed a lot of things and improved a lot. But here's my thing, and this is how I'm gonna compare it. So let's look at NBA. EA did not buy the NBA license, and 2K just completely destroyed their ass.
Yeah, they bought
when the NFL license was not
also.
owned by EA, 2K was kicking their ass. And it's funny because it's like we saw Madden NFL 25 come out. And I compared Madden NFL 25 to like NBA Live 14. Just wasn't what people expected. It was a decent game, but just not what people expected. And it's like, just imagine if EA was actually willing to compete and they did not have the license, we probably would have had a football game from 2K that looked like NBA 2K14. Like, just imagine like how, especially 2K15. Let's look at NBA 2K15. How good that game looked. Like, just imagine turning that into a football game.
Yeah, the commentating
freaking crazy. Like, Madden NFL 15 looks good. Don't get me wrong, it looks really good. But it's not NBA 2K15, not even NBA 2K14 style graphics. So, it's like I said, I think they have 1 year left. And I know I'm probably going to be disappointed because they're probably going to renew the license. But in my
sadness.
In a sweet dream of mine, I would love to see that not happen. And I'd love to see 2K bring their game with football, because at that point, we'd actually probably have innovative football games. Because, yeah, Madden NFL 15 is good, but as far as the next 2 years, there'll probably be Madden NFL 15 version 2.0 and then version 3.0. There's probably not going to be much of a difference, because that's just how EA does. Every time they make a big leap in the Madden franchise, they stick with that for the next 2 or 3 years and add little minor things here and there so they can sell the game again. And it's not worth a $60 purchase. I could genuinely say Madden NFL 15 is worth the $60 purchase, absolutely, over Madden NFL 25. I can't comment on the PS3 360 versions, but on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, absolutely.
Hey, let me just say this, guys. With the old NBA 2K games compared to the live back then, live actually looked better than the 2K games. The only difference was the presentation and the way the game played, which what made NBA 2K like freaking
that. Well, I mean,
2K's always owned presentation. Like, take gameplay aside, the presentation in the ESPN 2K football games were light years beyond Madden.
It's still so good. Like, I'll occasionally go boot up 2K5 on my 360 for fun, and like I'll play that game. And I'm like, why is the presentation in this better? This game is 10 years old now.
Wait, you said 360, you mean your Xbox?
Well, I mean, it runs on the 360.
Oh, gotcha, yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's
An
one of the
original
lucky.
Xbox game. Think about
Yeah,
that.
yeah, it's an original Xbox game. It's 10 years old. It's 10 years old this year, and it runs it from a presentation standpoint, it's better than the current Madden, and from a gameplay standpoint, it's as good in a lot of ways.
Yeah, because from what I remember when I was playing the old 2K basketball games was they didn't have a lot of license back then. They didn't own a lot of license from franchise players or whatnot, and the game wasn't as good looking as when you first saw live. You're like, oh wow, this look actually pretty good. And honestly, back then I liked playing live. I did. I liked playing the dunk contests and stuff because the people, when Kenny Smith was talking there, it was always fun to hear them, commentate. I don't know what the hell happened after like a few years.
Well, they got the EA. It's the typical EA syndrome. They get successful with the game, and they're like, "Oh, let's just copy and copy and post and sell it." People love the first one; they're gonna love the second one, so let's just copy and post. Whereas 2K's like, hold up, we're delivering a new game. This is gonna be a brand new fucking game. We're not gonna deliver the same shit.
Yeah, exactly, and that's what they're doing this time.
It's really disappointing because you look at the 2K football games, you look at like how good they were, and like, man, what if 2K4 had all these years of advancements?
Oh
yeah, like imagine if they imagine if the NFL license was never owned by EA. Like, just imagine if 2K. I mean, that was 2K5. So you're talking about almost 10 years. Talking about 10 years.
It came out
10
in
years.
04.
10 years of advancements from 2K. Like, oh man.
You guys as football fans would have a fucking rad ass fucking game.
Can I just be honest? Like, I just want to be honest, just for like on the topic of presentation, it's like I don't know what EA's trying to do. They're trying to make it look like a NBC Sports broadcast or something like that.
Well, they brought in one of the guys who like managed the broadcast for NFL, and they had him, like,
well, that exactly doesn't
that.
solve the fact that they didn't transition things weirdly. I mean, it just seems kind of awkward when we're playing in the middle of a match and all of a sudden it's like, okay, we're going to fade out the screen randomly because it's commercial break. Okay, we're going to fade it back in immediately because it's no longer a commercial break when there's no commercial break.
I have an amazing story to tell you guys about the newest Madden. It was a hilarious glitch. I was playing Madden the other day and I won the Super Bowl in my second season. But I threw 3 interceptions. So the Super Bowl MVP was on the losing team, and all the presentation stuff made it look like the losing team won.
I had that happen in Madden NFL 25. I had that exact same thing happen to me.
I mean, something like that is just like, really, you guys have like all the money in the world.
Oh, nothing beats. Have you guys seen the video clip I posted?
Oh, of the mini linebacker, that one?
No, of the fumble.
Oh, yes, that one was hilarious. Have you guys seen the mini linebacker, though?
No.
It's this glitch that shrunk this linebacker on the Titans, so he's like barely a foot tall.
So...
You guys need to... I texted it to you guys. So it was the Steelers versus the Panthers. Of course, I'm playing the Steelers. Cam Newton goes back. I sack him. He fumbles. But not does he... Okay, he's at about... the opposing 30, 20, between the 20 and 30 yard line. I go to sack him, he fumbles, and the ball just shoots back like 50, 60 yards into his territory. I end up running it. To keep in mind, I'm running after this ball's been just randomly shot 50, 60 yards back. Takes me about a good 10 seconds to go get the ball, and I recover it on their opposing like 11 yard line. It's hilarious. You guys gotta check out I'll text it to you guys again. It's so funny. If you guys...
Is that like the slingshot fumble or something?
Yes.
Yeah. If you guys go to... And for everyone listening, if you go to my Twitter, which is @NickMcCandless, and you'll see recently I tweeted, and I was like, this is the fumble of the year right here, because it was seriously the funniest thing ever. Like, the ball just literally just shot back like 50, 60 yards. Hilarious. But Madden, over the years, I've seen there's some priceless Madden glitches. They've gotten
in Madden, when they first introduced the Madden Infinity Engine in Madden 13, I just love it when some of the tackles just look like it completely would shatter a limb. or they would trip over some grass, like little blades of grass that they would trip over. It's kind of funny to watch.
Yeah.
See, but see, getting back to what you guys were saying, like if you guys were able to get, or if 2K was able to get their hands on a freaking NFL game, yeah, they would. We would have like a 2K, like an NBA 2K version of.
Well, it's just funny
Madden
because
football.
2K5 came out and it blew Madden away, and it was almost a third of the cost. It was $20.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, how nuts was that? Like, they were fucking just doing everything they could to beat Madden in the marketplace.
Well, yeah,
I think it's just
so
'cause of the name.
2K4 came out, and the big push, which had Warren Sapp on the cover, the big push with 2K4 was the fact that you could play first-person view, where you could pretty much play as you're like in the helmet. And then it came with 2K5 with Terrell Owens on the cover, and they just, oh man, it was amazing. It's funny because it's like talking about all these like remastered games. Like I wonder if EA wanted to, like of course they couldn't have the new players and rosters and everything like that, but I wonder if they really wanted to, and I'm sure they wouldn't because it probably wouldn't sell well, if they just made a remastered version of 2K5.
I would buy it.
On the
would buy
new
it.
generation of consoles. It's like
I would
old
buy it.
rosters and stuff. It's like Ricky Williams is back in his prime before he got caught on the pot, and Terrell Owens is like the star wide receiver instead of doing reality shows.
For the Eagles too. Let's not forget that.
The Steelers
God.
The Steelers win the Super Bowl. Just saying.
Fucking. Oh my God, Jake Plummer was Denver's quarterback. Oh my God, so weird.
All right, guys. Since we're already done with the subject, I actually gotta get going, folks.
All right,
So,
Brendan.
We'll see y'all later. Yeah, that was my NBA discussion. Live, hopefully, is not shit anymore. We'll see.
All right, let's talk about the most important news this week. Persona 5 news.
Oh, I thought you were
What?
gonna say something else, but we'll get to that after.
All right, see you guys later.
All right.
All right, hey Anthony, Persona 5. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So, a couple things. It is coming out early next year in Japan. So it did get pushed in Japan even to next year. And it is not only coming out on the PS3, it is also coming out on the PS4. Finally, with that trailer, we have a look at the new protagonist. Basically, it shows him riding a train, which that's pretty much how all these games start. And he ends up
Trains
in
are a very
Shibuya.
popular topic, aren't they, in Japan?
They love their trains, man.
Well,
Spear
everyone
tracks,
rides them
anybody?
there. I mean, everyone rides trains there, so I mean,
That is true. They've got some very fast trains too, and because Japan is like a country like the size of California, and you have like all those people crammed in, it's actually a good idea to build a bullet train. Actually,
yeah.
bullet trains work in Europe too because people are kind of clumped together. Bullet trains don't work in America because the population is kind of spread too far apart.
Yeah, so,
That and upgrading the rail system would probably be too expensive. Anyways.
the protagonist looks kind of like they took Harry Potter and the protagonists from Persona 3 and 4 and put them all together. But anyway, he ends up in downtown Shibuya, and then just time freezes, and then it cuts to the red. I'm so excited. I'm so unbelievably excited.
I'm
yeah.
not as excited, unfortunately.
It's PS4, so this means, hey, after the end of this year, we can finally start talking, instead of Game of the Year awards, we can do Games of Last Gen. Because how fun is that going to be, guys?
That's going to be a lot of fun, because they were going to be like, okay, guys, so it's the year 2015. The Xbox is now 10 years old. Let's do Games of Last Generation, please.
But yeah, let's.
It's gonna be so weird too, because when we make those videos, I'm gonna have to like dig through our game collection. We have to put in some games from 2007, look at them, and we're like, oh, that's what they looked like back then.
It's
like I'm gonna put Mass Effect 1 in. I'll be like, oh, that's how bad the performance was back then.
It's like, oh man, Viva Pinata. Too bad they're never making another one of these.
And I'm like, oh my goodness, Forza 2 is actually enjoyable.
Yeah. So. Oh man,
Madden 06.
I mean, Game of the Year is hard enough. Like, can we just picture for a minute what Game of the Generation is going to be like?
Oh
Take it-
man, I don't even
That
have,
stuff
like,
is
I don't
probably
even
going
have,
to take like a
3 to
week to figure
I
out.
already can name like 4 games that'll definitely be on that list, like without a doubt. But yeah, after that, it's gonna get really tough.
Like, there are gonna be some we can agree on for sure. Like, I think everyone is in agreement. Burnout Paradise is amazing. Like that.
Yes,
you know,
Burnout
that's one of
Paradise
the-
is amazing.
You know, like I don't know why
and
they
then
don't.
it's yeah.
Yeah, like
But,
I'm pretty sure that like Uncharted will be on there. It's just which
The Last
one.
of Us will be on there.
Last of Us will be on there. Mario
Wa-
Galaxy will probably be on
Walking
there.
Dead, basically the number
Uh,
one in each list from the last, basically since we started
Most
doing
li-
this is on there guaranteed.
Yeah, like
Walking Dead season,
almost like-
Walking Dead season 1. We're gonna have a massive
All right,
debate
guys,
on
we're
whether
going through the whole
GTA.
list right now.
We're gonna debate
mean-
whether GTA 4 or GTA 5 is better.
Oh, 5 is a hell of a lot better than 4, but we'll
Debatable.
Oh no! What I'm like okay, so let's take the game of the year from each year that we've done this. So 08 it was Metal Gear 4. 09
Oh,
it
Metal
was
Gear 4
Uncharted.
would definitely be on there.
09 was Uncharted 2.
That'll definitely be on there.
Yeah.
10 was Warcraft Cataclysm.
That I'm not a Warcraft
And Mass
fan,
Effect
so.
2, it was debatable.
And Mass Effect 2. We had a long debate about that. And that's also the year Mario Galaxy 2 came out. 10 was such a good year. Holy hell. And God of War came out that year also. 11 was Portal 2. 12 was Walking Dead. 13 was Last of Us. Like, dear Jeebus. And then, like, if we were around in 07, it probably would have went to Mario Galaxy or Orange Box. Maybe Halo.
The Orange Box is a compilation of games. That's the
Yeah.
iffy part
Yeah.
about it. Because you could say in 2000, the Orange Box, okay, well, it's a compilation of games, so therefore we should consider the Mass Effect trilogy as a single game, but we can't.
Okay,
we can
so
say Portal is one of the things of 07, but
I think Portal is one of the most important games ever made, let alone of the generation. Like, Portal is one
I
of those
definitely
games...
think Borderlands 2 should be in there too.
I think Borderlands
be.
2... We're going to have to... okay, for Game of the Generation, we're going to have a top 25 or top 50. Like, there's
That's
two-
top
yeah,
50
if you
too
put
much.
that in video form, I'm gonna
No,
choke you.
we're gonna have to do top 10. That's where it's gonna really get tough. We have to do top 10.
No,
I
they
think
said the problem is that we're talking about 10, not 8 years of a previous generation, and we're trying to find 10 games over 8 years that we can agree on or compromise on to put on a list.
I think the written article will have to be 25. The video will debate. I know that, like, okay, 07 then would have been Mario Galaxy or Halo 3. Like, that, you know, I'm sorry, but this Mass Effect shit ain't happening, Anthony. Not, you know, like, I would...
Wait, what?
If we were talking about... if we were around in 07 and doing Game of the Year awards, Anthony, I think it would have came down to Halo 3 versus Mario Galaxy 1.
Well, Mario Galaxy 1 I can kind of agree on. Halo 3...
You were not fond of that game.
I don't know. I didn't have an Xbox Live subscription when I tried Halo 3, so I didn't get it, and I didn't play Halo 1 or 2, so I really didn't get... Halo 3 was just the Halo game I didn't get because I didn't play any of the previous ones. I'm pretty sure after playing Halo Reach, I'm pretty sure I can understand how Halo 3 is good, but at the time I just didn't get it.
Well, you know, I'm going to get a second controller this holiday, and you know what? Over holiday break, we can play through all the Halos.
You know, I can already imagine an upset that's going to drive everyone on the internet insane.
Okay.
We all agree that Skyrim is overrated.
Yes.
Oh hell no,
absolutely.
that's
Yeah.
not making it. Fuck that.
Yeah, we all
But
agree
you have to
Skyrim's
remember,
overrated.
Anthony and I fucking love Oblivion.
We really like Oblivion, and Bronson and I agree that Skyrim is a good game that we have spent many, many hours in, but we just don't think it's as good as the internet made it out to be.
It is not fucking top 10 of the generation. Fuck that.
It is not.
Oh no, it's not top 25 even. Like, I don't, you know, like...
If anything, I would probably put Oblivion... The problem for me is that Oblivion and Skyrim would probably be about the same, because the world of Oblivion was a lot better, but Skyrim played it that much better. So,
yeah, but you have to put it in the context of when they came out.
When they came out, Oblivion was a pretty huge deal. It's just that it was just that it was kind of early on, so people didn't really quite went crazy.
No, what was the best game of 06? That is a funny one to me. Because it's like Oblivion, Twilight Princess, Gears, Viva
what else?
Pinata. Oh, you know my thoughts. All that
Batten
Viva
Kaitos,
Pinata.
maybe?
Oh, that'd be funny.
That's a GameCube game.
What game?
Batten Kaitos. That was like one of the
Kaitos.
last things that came out for the GameCube in 06. The GameCube just officially died after 06
Well, I
was
just want
over.
to say, probably may not be my top, but definitely my top 3 downloadable games of the generation that I would do. Oh man, if they freaking made a freaking I'd love for them to make it on PlayStation 4. Freaking Fat Princess. That game was the most amazing thing ever. I don't
think,
care anyone says. That game was unbelievable.
Journey would be
So
in my
much
top
fun.
Journey would definitely be in my top downloadables.
Oh man, I looked at
Fat
some of
Princess.
this stuff.
I played Fat Princess online so much. We need to make another one.
I remember 06. 06 was kind of awesome.
As long as we're talking downloadables, fucking Shadow Complex. Oh, Shadow Complex was so good.
I look at 06 and it's like, oh my goodness, I remember some of this. There was the Star Wars Empire or RTS game.
Remember, we could only do games on next gen
right.
Yeah,
so that crosses out the Sims expansion, my favorite Sims expansion. Let's see, there's Oblivion, Kingdom Hearts 2 on PS2.
That wouldn't count because that's PS2.
Yeah. Let's see.
Twilight
Final Fantasy 11 on 360. God damn. New Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo DS.
Oh yeah, we're talking. But no. What else came out in 06?
Let's
Gears,
see.
Viva
Hitman
Pinata.
Blood Money on Xbox 360.
We've got to do the biggest. We've got to do the biggest disappointments too. And freaking God of War Ascension's definitely. And don't get me wrong, God of War Ascension was a good game. I think a lot of people criticized it a little bit too much, but definitely was not what I was hoping for.
Oh.
And then definitely Gears of War. Like, oh man, I was so looking forward to that. It was such a bust.
Yeah, Fable. I think Fable 3 is definitely one of those disappointments.
Dead Rising 1 is on.
Dead Rising 1 was fucking awesome. No,
Yeah, that's 06.
I didn't like it.
Okami came out in
Dead Rising
06,
1.
but that's a PS2
I realized that Dead Rising 1 though is incredible. Like, here's the thing about Dead Rising 1. I would not.
I haven't liked any of the Dead Rising games.
I loved 3. I
didn't like it.
I wasn't super fond of 2. I thought 1 was way unnecessarily difficult, but I liked the idea. And 3 was solid. And 3 was like, hey, you want to know what's fun? Running over zombies with a steamroller that has flamethrowers on it. And I'm like, you're right. That is fun.
Call of Duty 3 and Gears of War 1 came out on the same day.
Oh god.
But we need to save this, guys. We're going through the list.
I'm just going through 06. I'm just going through 06.
Oh yeah,
okay?
like
Sonic the Hedgehog for
is
Xbox 360 and PS3.
Oh, that would be in the worst of the generation with Duke Nukem Forever and Aliens.
So yeah, 2006 was just terrible.
Oh,
for the most part.
The first Resistance came out in 06. What else came out in 06 on the next gen platforms?
Can I just say the video game
when the PlayStation 3 came out, and there was
that was the launch. Yeah, what, Anthony? Sorry.
NPD group sales number of 06. The best-selling video game in 2006 in the U.S. was Madden NFL 07 at 1.8 million. That's kind of sad.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Look, I'm looking on Wikia. I'm looking on Wikia right now, and the best-selling game in 2006 in the U.S.
That's how you know you had a terrible year when
here's the
Madden's
thing,
the top-selling game of the year.
Madden NFL 07 on the PS2. Number 2 was New Super Mario Brothers for the DS. And number 3 was Kingdom Hearts 2. And then number 4, you finally have an Xbox 360 game, which is Gears of War 1.
What was so important about Madden? What was so important about 07?
Nothing. It was just there was nothing else that year that was.
But 8 million copies? Damn.
Here's the thing, though.
1.8 for on PS2.
1.8. I think
like
1.8.
Yeah, 1.8 million on the PS2. So,
Okay, well, I mean, here's some things everyone needs to remember about 06 also. It's before Call of Duty exists. It was before Halo was an every
Well,
other
Call of
year
Duty
thing.
existed. It just wasn't the beast that it is
Well, yeah,
now.
it wasn't the modern era of Call of Duty, as we'll call it.
Yeah, that was Call of
Um,
Duty 3, which Call of Duty 4
Bad.
is when, Call of Duty 4 is when everything changed.
When the madness happened. And I remember when Call of Duty. I remember when fucking Call of Duty 4 came out. Everyone was so hyped over it, and I played it. I thought it was a good game. Don't get me wrong. I thought I had a lot of fun playing COD 4. I thought it was a well-made video game. But I also thought that, man, this is not better than Halo 3. What are you people talking about?
It's modern military with modern stuff like the real world. It's modern. I think that's the point.
Yeah,
but I also know that Call of Duty 4 is not the first modern military game, because I think, what was that shooter called?
No, Battlefield 2 came out before.
I know, but not Battlefield 2, but it was like
Full Spectrum Warrior, SOCOM. Like, there's so many.
What's it called? What is that shooter called again? I know it kind of like took place in like the Gulf War or something. I forgot what it's called. But that game definitely was more modern. That definitely you could say that's a modern military game. But Call of Duty 4 was not the first modern military game. It was just the one that pretty much kind of got everyone addicted on modern military, and now they're trying to do advanced future-ish stuff.
Now they're trying to do it advanced, and I'm like, thank
So
Christ.
after killing World War II, they have decided to beat the modern day to death. Now they're going to beat the near future to death, and then they're going to try and attempt to beat Halo to death.
Well, they already beat the future to death with Unreal and Quake. That happened already.
Yeah, but in recent memory, yeah.
Like, that was a thing. Like, Quake happened. I know a lot of people don't like don't remember it. But Quake and Unreal happened. They were really popular, and then for whatever reason, it stopped. But what were other trends for this generation? I'm trying to remember. I really like how downloadable games became a thing. Like, I remember when the 360 launched. Like, Xbox Live, you could have a game over 100 megs. It used to fit on these fucking memory cards. And I remember the big game that everyone downloaded at launch and early on was Geometry Wars. Like, everyone had Geometry Wars. Like, just everyone. Because it was $5. Like, $5 for Geometry Wars? That's no... Hello, okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, it was coming through really robotic.
Yeah.
What about now?
It's
That's
better
good.
now.
I remember the first game that everyone lost their fucking minds over. That was a downloadable title. Was Geometry Wars, and then for a while there, they were popular, but they weren't super huge. But then what was the name? Braid and it was Braid, Castle Crashers, and some other game all came out at the same time, and then Xbox Live
Castle Crashers is awesome.
And yeah, and those games together just exploded Xbox Live Arcade. And I love how, because of these downloadable platforms, indie games have kind of risen. It's really neat. Because without it, we wouldn't get games like Shadow Complex or Journey or The Walking Dead
or Fat Princess.
That was another. I put a lot of time in that game. I played a lot of it with Quinn.
That game was amazing.
That game was really good.
Gosh, they need to make another one.
They do. What was another one that was really man? I had a bunch of Wipeout was a good downloadable title.
Super Stardust.
Stardust was awesome. That was the PlayStation's Geometry Wars, basically. What was really weird? What was really cool? I also thought about this generation was how fighting games got popular again. That was I loved fighting games for years, but they kind of died, and then for whatever reason they got Street Fighter 4 came out and they just blew up again. There was
something that blew up even more ridiculous levels.
The evolution of esports.
That was cool. That was something that was really neat. I remember when this gen started, MLG was just starting to get popular. I competed in a couple MLG tournaments for Halo, but it wasn't like it is now, where Reno has a city like Reno has its own esports league. Like, how fucking insane is that? Oh, like, that's nuts.
What I also found really crazy. Hey, plastic instruments. Really
Oh, God.
expensive plastic instruments. It started with Guitar Hero, and YouTube kind of made it blow up pretty nicely because whereas Rock Band is more kind of like a group effort, Guitar Hero was basically you going on YouTube and watching people get 100% expert on whatever the most ridiculously hard song.
No. I remember watching that kid play through the fire and the flames, like 99% on expert, like
Misses the last note, right?
literally, like hit the note. He would take both hands off the guitar because the beginning of the song was all hammer-ons. So you need both hands to hit them, and I was like, this is the most ridiculous shit I've ever seen. Oh, that was fucking crazy.
Then Rock Band made it even crazier.
Yeah, man. Well, Rock Band, like, I remember when Rock Band came out, I thought this was going to be the dumbest idea ever. And I looked at the song list, and I wasn't really particularly a fan of it. But then I actually got to see the game in action and play it, and immediately ordered a copy the next day. And, like, it took, like, 3 weeks to get all the crap together shipped to my house. But worth every penny. And actually, after getting to play the song list, I thought it was pretty good. In fact, I have a lot of those songs on my iPod still. Yeah, man, that was... Ooh, there are so many... remember motion gaming, how that was a trend? Like, how everyone had to make their own motion control thing?
Everyone had to try and take down the Wii. Like, the Wii, we're going to look back at the Wii, and we might laugh at it because we're going to be like, oh, that is so 2000s.
Well, technically, it started before the Wii with the iToy. Remember the original iToy?
Yeah, but it wasn't like it was a requirement.
I remember
whereas
you'd, like, slap monkeys, and, like, monkeys would poop, and you'd have to wipe the windows, and...
I actually had the original iToy. Man,
I did too. I enjoyed that thing.
Yeah, I put
fun.
I played so much of that Kung Fu minigame.
Oh yeah, and I remember they came out with that one game. Was it Anti-Gravity or something like that? It was so bad.
I thought it was like
it worked so like the camera and the movement was just so bad.
I remember when they revealed Kinect, and it was just like an hour and a half train wreck.
Oh yeah, everyone was like, "This is the biggest disaster."
Oh.
And then they announced like $150 price. People like, "Are you crazy? Like, get the fuck out of here!"
Man, I sat there.
Skittles.
I sat there, and I just E3 during that generation was just really bizarre because you just never knew what was going to happen because Microsoft kind of went from just super hardcore, we're gonna be king of gaming kind of mentality, and next thing you know, they're chasing after Nintendo, trying to say, we got connectables. Look, we got the tiger that will scare you.
While Nintendo is showing off Wii Music.
And oh man, that was the worst. As far as E3 memories, that forever just
for Wii Music.
Scar my brain. I remember that the Nintendo press conference was really lousy for a while, but because I'm a fan of Nintendo, I'm like, maybe they'll show something, right? They dimmed the lights. Super stoked, and then it was Wii Music, and I'm like, yep, and this is why I bought a Wii.
They were so proud of it too. That's what was funny. They were so proud of it.
I think the thing that stands out to me about Microsoft is that 2010 press conference where that Aaron, Ben, and I watched it fucking 3 a.m, and just it's horrible. It's Skittles. Fucking Darth Vader. The only thing I got out of that entire Kinect presentation is all of this looks terrible except for Dance Central. And you know what? Everyone said I was crazy for thinking that game looked okay, and I was right. All of those games were terrible except for what? Dance Central.
Remember PlayStation Home, guys?
Oh yeah, that was stupid. That was
PlayStation. I don't like. I don't remember. It probably had a lot of potential, but it was always slow. It couldn't really load in that many people, and it's still sitting in beta, I think.
To this day.
And with the PS4, I think they've effectively given up because it's nowhere to be found on the PS4.
I would like to see another shot. Because the thing is, it's a good idea. Just they failed miserably on it. But the thing is, I don't know. I'd rather them use those resources and money for games.
Like, I still think to this day, how much money did they dump into PlayStation Home? Because it's
they made a
look,
lot
you
of
can get some
money on
EA
it,
furniture for your little
they made a
tiny
lot of money
studio
on
apartment.
it, though, believe it or not. They probably, if I had to take a guess, they probably did profit from it.
They might because they did keep it this long. I mean, there was like, oh man, the PS3 was
All
just
the
was just
advertisements in there. Oh yeah, they were making
the
money on
PS3
it.
is just kind of like an engineer's
It's
dream.
creepy.
But
You go in there today, you'll still find tons of people in there.
yeah, and I'm just like, why
What
do you
those
guys use
people are
PlayStation
doing,
Home? It's like one of the
probably
most
creepy,
irrelevant
but-
features of the system today. Actually, back in the day, it was also kind of funny because it's like, hey guys, life with PlayStation helps Stanford with stuff because you've got a supercomputer. Why? Because you're doing stuff for Stanford. If you've got folding at home, I think they called it.
You know,
Yeah,
we talked about
folding at
Nintendo. We talked about Nintendo for a minute there, and what the Nintendo press conference that stands out in my mind is the one from 2010, because like we were expecting a third train wreck in a row, because their 07 and 06 were awesome, and their 08 and their 09 were both pretty terrible. So we were just expecting another train wreck, and they're like, fucking new Zelda, 3DS, GoldenEye, Donkey Kong, Kirby, like
Metroid.
it was just kind of like, what the fuck is going
Well, yeah,
on?
their plan was probably like, okay, we're gonna have 2 shitty E3s, but when we come back with our third one, it's gonna be fucking amazing.
The thing that really kills a Nintendo fan such as myself is that you always hope that Nintendo's going to be great because, you know, the GameCube's great, the N64 is great. Like, you just kind of have that hope that, you know, yeah, this stuff will suck, but they'll come back, right? And then you have stuff like Wii Music at the end of 08, and you're just thinking, it's like, oh my god, what is going on here? It was painful, and then to see something like in 2010, you're kind of like, what is going on here? It's just like, there was like zero consistency. It's not like now where, you know, this year's PlayStation conference and last year's PlayStation conference, they're kind of like, they're both good, and same with Microsoft. But back then, it was like, E3, you just didn't know if you're going to like what they said or think that they are the worst game companies to have ever existed. You just never knew what you were going to get. Like, I don't... You know, Bronson, we should look back and read some of our really lousy predictions that we came up with before the conferences start in 2010.
I'm good.
I'm gonna pull them up, actually.
But
Hey.
okay, let's move along. We'll save this for another show. Let's go ahead and move on to more news. So, during the last episode of Unscripted Access, we usually record on Wednesday nights and we release on Fridays. And last episode, we talked about, oh, what is Deep Silver going to announce? We're talking about this new game. And turns out that my prediction of Saints Row was half correct, because they announced that Saints Row 4 will be coming to the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One with a brand new DLC, and that DLC is called... What is it called? Get Out of Hell is what it's called. So essentially what they're doing is they're re-releasing Saints Row 4, and they're calling it Saints Row 4 Re-Elected. It's coming out January 27th for Xbox One and PlayStation 4, and it's only going to be $30, which is good. So we're going to see a remaster. Too bad that game is shit. But they're also coming out with the Get Out of Hell standalone expansion, so you can play this game without having the game. So I will gladly check out Get Out of Hell. It's going to be $20. I will gladly check that out on January 27th. I will not get the re-elected version because Saints Row 4 is terrible.
Okay, wait, no, it's Saints Row 4 on it's on PS4, correct?
Coming to PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, yes.
And it's $30. Fuck yes, best game of last year.
Get the fuck out of here.
Fucking certainly the most fun. You
Get
know,
the fuck out of here. He said best game of last year.
You do not understand.
You're
joy,
putting Saints
sir.
Row 4 above The Last of Us?
No, I was joking. It's my personal favorite. It's my personal favorite and most fun game of last year to me. As like, if I had to say best in quotes game of last year, it's a 3-way tie between Last of Us, Mario, and Dota. And the more I sit and watch Dota, I'm like starting to agree with Brad over at Giant Bomb that like that is probably the best game of last year. Granted, it's like the amount of time it takes to get good at Dota is disgusting. But everything else for that game is great. No, Data Hell Expense looks cool. Like, you're not playing as your character from 3 and 4, you're playing as Johnny Gat, who's been a very same character for a while now. And you are trying to rescue your character from 3 and 4. It looks hilarious and ridiculous and everything that's all about.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out. Thank God, thank you, Deep Silver, for making it a standalone expansion, because you guys know that Saints Row 4 was bad. So
no, you know Saints Row 4
so
amazing.
if people want to play
do
it,
more of that.
No, so if people want to play the expansion without requiring the game, they can do that, because I am not interested in Saints Row 4. However, I am interested in Get Out of Hell. So I will gladly check that out on the PlayStation 4 and Xbox
the
One.
The pitch for this is now I'm fighting demons and the devil inside the Matrix instead of aliens. I'm okay with this. What was it? Fuck. I'm trying to remember something about Saints Row. Oh well. Damn it! I had it too. Oh well, I lost my train of thought. Go ahead.
But yeah, so January 27th. I will be skipping out on the re-elected version, but I will definitely be checking out the DLC.
Is coming with the remake?
No.
Okay, so how did they say how much the remake is? Like $20. Yeah, I'll spend $50 on those two, especially it's in January when nothing's coming out. Like that's worth it to me, especially because I own that game on the computer, so playing it on my TV without having to move my laptop, that is a nice bonus. Oh man, no, I'm kind of curious what they're gonna do for the 5th one, because okay, we fought aliens with superpowers.
They need to tone it down a little bit. Is what they need to do.
No, they need to go further.
They don't.
No, speaking of games losing their fucking mind, we all saw that crazy Dead Rising 3 DLC at E3. I assume we did anyway.
Yes.
I remember playing it, and I was talking to the senior programmer, and it was just nuts. Like, it was like fucking, I'm a giant piece of tofu fighting hundreds of zombies on a fucking motorcycle.
That's just ridiculous.
It's so fucking amazing. And I go to their senior programmer, and I'm like, after I'm done playing, I'm like, so this, and I just wave my hands. I'm just like, can you turn all of this into a $60 product? like, can this just be Dead Rising? Because Dead Rising has always had this problem, like, where it's trying to, like, be a serious zombie game, kinda, in its story, but outside of its story, it's really stupid. Like, I'm running around in a fucking night suit with like, Blanca's head from Street Fighter, like a Blanca mask, killing zombies with a katana, and then I go in this cutscene, it's like, you got 23 hours to get the cure, and fucking the city's gonna get bombed. And I'm like, this switch in tone is fucked. They need to stop this. Like, Saints Row acknowledges that it's fucking stupid.
Yes, and Saints Row 3 was amazing, and then Saints Row 4 just turned to a whole nother level where it was way too fucking stupid.
I'm not gonna continue to have this argument. Dead Rising 3's problem is, and all the Dead Risings is, like I said, like, it's, you have this game where, in the gameplay, it's all about, wow, wacky, dumb, but then the story is all, like, serious, morose zombie story, and it creates this weird disconnect where it's, just, like, it kind of fucks with your mind. Like, I mean, the way that, like I said, the way that Saints Row does it is Saints Row, the second you see that Get Out of Hell, you're like, this is loud, dumb, and obnoxious. And you are aware. So, I don't know. What's the next piece of news?
So, moving along to some news from Japan about the Vita. So, the Tokyo Game Show has surpassed, and there's not too much American news on the PlayStation or of course the Xbox side. Microsoft's never been big on the Japanese side, except when they've had what game is it? Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter has sold Xboxes in the past. But Sony has announced something called UMD Passport. There's no information as to whether it will come to North America or Europe.
Let me tell you, it won't, because they know no one here buys fucking Vita games.
But essentially what UMD Passport is 250 previously UMD only games will be available on September 17th for Vita owners. No really information has been provided, really at all. But yeah, so access to 250 previously PSP games will be coming available to PlayStation Vita.
I mean, neat. I like. It'd be cool if this would come stateside. You know, but like on the other hand,
I've given up on the Vita. I have a Vita. The only time I use it's when I do a remote play with my PlayStation 4.
You know what? I haven't given up all hope yet.
Oh, I have.
Yeah.
After seeing last E3, I have.
No. The reason I haven't given up hope yet is because of indie games. The Vita has granted, like there's no, Danganronpa 2 came out yesterday. That's a rad game. And like the next retail game is like Freedom Wars, and then that's it for like 2 or 3 months. I definitely get that. That thing is tapped for good games.
Here's the thing: like Sony has tried. They've tried. They've done things like released the Borderlands bundle, and it actually kind of sold out. But then the port sucked, and then they had us hope for the Call of Duty version on Vita, and that failed miserably. Like they've tried. It's like here's the thing. You gotta understand. If you're Sony, like here's the thing: put your gamer side away. You're a business person. You've got the Vita. You've got the PlayStation 4. You got the PlayStation 3. PlayStation 3 is doing well, but it's in the end of its cycle. The PlayStation 4 is breaking record numbers, unbelievable, making you tons of money. And then you got the Vita. You're not going to try to take this system, this platform that's just downright in the shitter, and try to build it up when your focus right now is on a platform that's making you a shit ton of money. You're going to be focused on the PlayStation 4 because you're making a ton of money, you've got the momentum, you've got to keep it up, you've got to compete with the Xbox One, which at first Xbox One didn't seem like much of a competitor, but Phil Spencer is turning Microsoft around with Xbox, and Xbox One's turning into this very good gaming platform. Sony needs to make sure that they don't slip up. Because, yes, Sony may have almost double the amount of PlayStation 4 sold as Xbox One, but it just takes a little bit of slipping up, and Xbox One will accelerate past PlayStation 4. Xbox One already has the better holiday season this year. Now, 2015, yes, I mean, we don't know everything that's going to be coming out in 2015, but there appears currently that Sony would have the advantage. But this holiday season, Microsoft has more exclusive titles. So, yes, you can be like, oh, Destiny, and Destiny was rather on the PlayStation 4, but talking about solely about exclusives, Microsoft has Sony beat. All Sony really has come out the end of this year that's exclusive is Drive Club and Little Big Planet 3. So, it's if I was Sony, I'm sorry. Like, yes, the Vita, we're done. We're done with portable platforms. Yes, we'll market it as this. Yeah, you want to do remote play, then the PlayStation Vita. But we're no longer doing portable platforms. The PSP did great, but the Vita did not. That's not where our expertise is. That's where Nintendo excels. But guess what? We have this platform called the PlayStation 4 that's selling better than any other video game console in all of video game history. This is where I'm pouring my money. This is where I'm pouring my resources.
So my thing with the Vita, though, is like the Vita's profitable, and the indie developers at least have made their money back, and
it's profitable for the indie developers. It's not profitable for everyone.
The thing is, though, is like, why is the 3DS successful, especially early on? Like, the 3DS had all the problems the Vita had in its first year, like overpriced, no games, but Nintendo actually put games out on it that people wanted to buy.
But there's a lot more issues with the Vita than just games. You have the whole storage issue. That's not something they can just flip back on. Like, The only thing they could do if they really wanted to resolve that is if they came out with a PlayStation Vita that's like $150 and has 32 gigs of storage built into it, and they came out with a ton of games. But you're talking about a lot of money to pull that off, and Sony's not going to do that.
Here's an idea then, or you could not make or you could price your memory cards like sane people. That'd be a great
like regular
idea.
SD cards.
Yeah, that'd be a good idea.
The DS, the 3DS uses SD cards, which means you can go to Amazon and buy like a 32 gig SD card for like $20, and it would work great for your 3DS.
Well, here's the
and you have
thing.
all the storage you ever need for that system.
I'm not trying to make an excuse for Sony because I don't know all the technicalities. Could they have used SD? Probably. Why
are these fucking memory cards so fucking expensive?
Well, here's the thing. That's what I was going to say. From the perspective.
Here's the thing. Yeah, with SD is a very, very aged technology. It's very simple to mass produce SD cards at a very affordable price. When SD cards first came out, they were extremely expensive. And that's kind of the situation where Sony came in, is they announced these memory cards, and they're proprietary to Sony in the Vita. They're only for PlayStation Vita. It's a new technology, and new technology is always expensive. So Sony kind of screwed themselves over with that.
Here's the thing: is that
honestly, people are like, "Oh, let's just make them cheaper." I honestly, like I said, I could be wrong. Of course, Sony's making a profit on the memory cards, but they may not be making as much profit as we think. Those things might be kind of expensive to produce.
Here's the thing, though. Like, I look at any platform throughout history, and it's like price and games are what sell. Are the two big factors here. I think if you were to bundle a 16 gig memory card with that thing, that'd be fine. Because I have a 16 gig, yeah, I have to delete games occasionally, but it's not the worst thing in the world. I can keep my favorites on it at least. And then you need games, and it just seems that after that first wave, they just didn't give a fuck anymore, and Borderlands was kind of like the last gasp, and even that was like a rushed crap port.
Yeah, here's the thing. I guarantee you, Sony probably paid 2K to even bother with that. Because if I'm 2K, I won't even bother. That's the thing with the Vita. It's in this vicious cycle where it's like, oh, I want a Metal Gear. Oh, I want a Grand Theft Auto. All these great games came out for the PSP. Why aren't they coming to the Vita? Well, on the PSP, they had millions and millions of them sold to sell copies on. If they release a Metal Gear now, it doesn't matter how good that Metal Gear game is, it's not going to sell that well for Kojima to even put the effort behind it. Because there's only so many Vita. There's less than 10 million Vitas out there, isn't there?
There's 8.
Yeah, there's 8 million Vitas. Well, guess what? The PlayStation 4 hasn't even been out a year, and there's more PlayStation 4s on the market.
I mean, the one thing that's in its favor is if you can produce a game on a budget, such as the way NIS and Atlas have been doing, and indie developers have been doing, Vita owners buy games. And that's proven. Every indie game that is worthwhile on the Vita sells well. NIS, all of their games have made profit on Vita. Same thing with Atlas. It's, these big AAA experiences on Vita, yeah, those might be dead. But if you want something to play more niche titles or indie games, it's great. I'm playing Velocity X2 right now, and I'm having a blast with it. It's super fun. The thing is, though, is people want AAA experiences, and I feel as though Sony didn't try enough to do that with the Vita. Sony did Uncharted at launch, and that was super cool, and, we got a couple other games that were...
They had a great launch with games.
Yeah, no, it was that launch was fucking spectacular. But they had a great launch, and their first year wasn't, was all right. They had a solid first year. Sly Cooper was fun. Persona 4 Golden is still the best game on the system. They had a solid first year, and then after that, it's just been all indie games in Japan, which I'm fine with as a fan of both those things.
Well, but that's a very niche market too.
Yeah, exactly. And the Vita's doing great in Japan. By all things, Like, and that's why it's.
And that's why they even bothered. They spent like a good amount of time talking about the Vita during their Tokyo Game Show. That's why.
Yeah, like the Vita's doing pretty well in Japan, and I know several people here who are big on Japanese games, who own Vitas, who love the system, and people who actually own Vitas are typically pretty satisfied with it. I know John likes his; he carries it more than his 3DS. I love my Vita.
I don't know, I've been disappointed. Like I said, it makes a great accessory for the PlayStation 4.
I think that one thing that, like I said though, like where are the big, hitters that sell consoles for this thing?
Well, we're not going to get any of those. That's the problem. We're not going to get any of those when there's only 8 million Vitas out there.
Yeah, well, I mean, this goes back to the whole thing that Sony needed to do at the very beginning and they did it with the PSP. Because the PSP, they did it at launch with it, because it had a Grand Theft Auto within the first year. It had, it had several big hits within the first year, and then later on, because of its install base, they're able to build more. And I think that the same they needed to do the same thing here, and they didn't. Like, they needed to go to Rockstar and say, hey, can you port GTA 4 or some type of game like it? Hey, like, we were supposed to get a BioShock. We never did. We were supposed to get, you want to what really irks me is, so are you guys informed of, BioShock on iOS? Like, that just happened, right?
Yes, it just came out.
And it looks terrible. It looks fucking horrible. Like, it just visually, it looks very bad. And I'm like, the Vita could do way better visuals than this. It could actually be controlled properly.
I wouldn't blame that on iOS though, because the thing is the 5S is more powerful than the Vita.
No, I get that. I'm not
graphically and processing, the 5S is much more powerful than the Vita.
Yes, I get that. It's just that my thing with it is like, okay,
like if you're gonna play a mobile, like to this day, like on the Vita, I've not seen a game that's impressive. If you play what's it called? Is it Dead Nation 2? I forgot what it's called. I'm looking right now. It starts with a D. I know that. Dead Trigger 2. This game on iOS is called Dead Trigger 2. I know I've mentioned it before. If you have one of the latest iOS devices, check the game out. The game looks unfreaking believable. First-person shooter for iOS. To this day, I have not seen a game on Vita that's that impressive visually. So the thing with iOS is that the reason why, I mean, yes, there's some very graphically impressive titles. The reason why we don't see too many is iOS. If a game is $8, that's considered premium. Like if a game is $8 for iOS, like you're pushing it.
The thing is, like, if they're porting BioShock to iOS, like, it wouldn't be that hard to scale the Vita, I imagine. And
I don't understand that move, because that BioShock is so old. Like, I'm so lost on that. Like, yeah, when did the first BioShock come out?
2007. It was one of those big games that the game is finally here. Like that.
Yeah, I don't even. And they're charging like $20 for it or something crazy like that.
Yeah, still though, like that's a lot of people's favorite game. It is one of the best games of the previous generation.
I'm sorry, but you can't play BioShock on a. You need buttons for that.
I mean, yeah, like that's another thing about it though, and I'm like, okay.
I'll stand by it. The company that will run portable gaming, and you could argue that they do now, because they definitely make more money off their games than Nintendo. But I'm telling you guys, the day Apple, I'm not talking about these third-party controllers, the day Apple comes out with a very solid controller for iOS, they will own mobile gaming by a long shot for multiple reasons. They've got the ecosystem, and how can you say no to an install base of 700 million devices? I mean, come on now. 700 million freaking devices. So you're going to have every company supported them. There's Apple TVs. You can easily stream it wirelessly to your TV. You got the ecosystem. It's tied to your iTunes account. Games are $7 to $8. Like, it's just everything is there. All
Okay,
Apple needs to do is come out
Nick,
with a reliable hardware controller for iOS platforms, and like I said, you can argue that they're the top now, but they'll even take it to a whole nother level.
let me tell you what every like 8-year-old and 40 or 50 million 3DS owners would say. But Pokemon.
But Pokemon has started coming to iOS. Yes, now it was just the card game, but if they came out with a controller for iOS and they see this big gaming revolution happen on iOS, you bet your ass Pokemon would come to iOS.
Nintendo's too stubborn. They wouldn't.
No, oh, dude, they bring Mario to fucking iOS, dude. There would be so much freaking money there that they would be stupid. You're talking about an install base of 700 million devices. There's no way.
Yes, because every Android device out there.
No. Here's the thing. iOS is different than Android. When people buy an Android phone, there's people who buy an Android phone just to use it for the phone features. When people buy iOS, the statistics prove it. The amount of apps an iOS user downloads versus Android is completely irrelevant. The average iOS user downloads, I think it is over their lifetime, downloads over 80 fucking apps. Over 80 apps. Android, it's less than 5. Because a lot of people, they just want to get a smartphone and get what's free. So they buy that cheap Android phone that has hardware of a phone that came out 5 years ago. Android and iOS are two completely different things. You can't even compare the two. Yes, the Galaxy S phones are always up there in hardware, but here's the problem with Android. When you're producing for Android, you're producing for a million different devices, whereas iOS, you know what you're getting into, and you can easily restrict, hey, if you have iOS, you can only play this game if your device runs iOS 7 or above. So it's a completely different. Like, just put it this way. Like, some of these games that come out on iOS are making more money than any other video game in history. Put it this way, Clash of Clans. Very basic game. 2013, that game made profits, keep in mind profits, over almost just under $900 million in profit just in 2013.
So here's
that's
the thing
ridiculous. There's not just Clash of Clans. Look at Flappy Bird. Something as stupid as Flappy Bird was making $50,000 a day. Like
the thing is, though,
stupid.
Is there's always going to be that enthusiast gamer. There's always going to be the guys like Anthony.
I understand that. But what I'm saying is that when Apple comes out with a gaming controller and they actually try to pursue the gaming market, they're going to have those games that everyone wants to play. They'll have those games. Think about it. Like, you got to think about it. The amount of money Apple has. Like, gaming's getting bigger by the day. Apple, same thing with everything. They see it everyone does. They wait, they take their time, and they perfect it, and they kick everyone's ass. They're going to do the same thing with gaming. I'm not saying they're going to come out with a console and compete with console gaming. I don't think they'll do that. Portable gaming, absolutely. But then you could argue that they will go after console gaming just from the standpoint of, hey, I have this lovely tablet of mine. Now, the thing there is cost. Obviously, getting an iPad to be as powerful as a PlayStation 4 would be extremely expensive. So I don't see them going after the console market anytime soon.
Apple doesn't sell shit at a loss, so you know.
Yeah, so I don't see them coming out competing against consoles, but mobile gaming, absolutely, without an issue. Because here's the thing, there's so many complaints about mobile gaming, like, oh, I wish I could play this on my TV, or I wish I could do this, I wish I could do that. Apple can resolve that very simple because they have the best ecosystem in technology. You can argue that all you want, but no company has a more integrated ecosystem than Apple. Everything works. Everything works with each other. Android, you can't say that because, oh, this device works with that, but this device doesn't work with that one. With iOS, oh, it's an iOS device, it works.
So first off, did the Pokemon trading card game really come to iOS?
Yes, it did.
Now.
It did.
I am checking this.
It was this huge announcement. That's why I'm saying, when this becomes big, you bet your ass Pokemon will be on iOS.
I'm going to the App Store right now. Because I thought it was coming to the eShop on...
Nope, it's on iOS. I don't know if it's out right now, but I saw an announcement. It was official.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if it's on there right now, but if you look it up, just type Pokemon iOS, and you'll see news announcements everywhere. It's official.
Let's see. Okay. Yep. All
Yeah.
right.
So
Yeah, you're right.
yeah, you bet your ass that
I,
when Pokemon they see Pokemon selling, oh shit, there's 700 million devices. I'm gonna whoa, I hear it sound. Oh
I
shit,
mean,
this Pokemon trading game. We just made millions and millions of dollars by putting it on iOS. Well, guess what? We can make millions and millions of dollars putting the other Pokemon games on there. Because here's the
the thing
thing: the
that
Pokemon games you can play with touchscreen. Those games are much easier to play than the whole first-person shooter. Because here's the thing: they have these whole first-person shooter franchise, which is sort of like their version of Call of Duty called Modern Combat. Modern Combat 5 looks unfreaking believable. Those games, I can't imagine playing through a whole first-person shooter on a touchscreen. But a game like Pokemon, I could possibly see it. Yes, I'd rather play with buttons, and that's why I'm saying, and I will stand by it, that when Apple comes out with an official, like it's made by Apple, not licensed or anything. It's made by Apple, and you can stream it to your Apple TV, which you can currently do. And they've got publishers because Apple's got publishers wrapped around their finger. Almost every time they announce a new iPhone, what do? They show a new Infinity Blade from Epic Games. So they'll go to all these companies and be like, hey, how would you like your game to be featured and promoted on an install base of 700 million people? We now have buttons, so that issue is resolved. People can play it while they're on the bus, and they can come home and play it on their TV. Like, come on. Like, it's a no-brainer. Apple, like I say, I'm not saying Nintendo would go out, but Apple would absolutely rule that business without a question.
All right. What's next for a news story? Because I gotta leave in 19 minutes.
Okay, so next is PS4 2.0. It's already been announced. It's going to have the share play. Anthony and I discussed that last week. But Sony announced more information. There's going to be little trickling announcements about 2.0. There's more to come. Dynamic themes are coming to the PlayStation 4. You guys excited about that? I've never been a big fan of the dynamic themes. It's cool because now you'll be able to customize it and not everyone's PlayStation 4 will look the same. But what do you guys think?
I don't really care. Like the only time I ever turn on a theme is like on Christmas time. I put on the fire one, the one that looks like a fireplace. That's it. So to me, this is kind of like I don't care. Great.
Right. How about you, Anthony? Is that something that entices
Dynamic
you? Dynamic
themes. The only time I've ever played with a dynamic theme was when they had one for Final Fantasy XIV. Even then, I only kept it around for like maybe a week.
Day.
I'm more into changing the wallpaper than the entire interface icons. That's all I ever do at most is just change the background. That's it. Dynamic themes, yeah, I just kind of don't care. It's kind of like it's kind of like I don't know, it's like some Windows 98 or Windows XP thing where you can have a customizable desktop. You can goof up the colors.
Well, this
really
has been
weird.
something that's highly requested, though. A lot of people have been asking for it.
Well, the thing is that themes are freaking awesome.
I never customize. Like, my iPhone, I have right now the standard iOS background. My PlayStation 3 has a standard background. Like, I don't mind.
What color is your Xbox background? Because mine's even the green that came with it.
Yeah, so is mine. So it's like, I don't ever customize that stuff, but there's a market for it. I mean, they're going to do what they did with the PlayStation 3, where they're going to charge like $2 to $3 for dynamic themes, and then PlayStation Plus will include like 2 or 3 free dynamic themes a month. That's what they're going to do. They did it with the PlayStation 3.
The problem I have with dynamic themes is that when my PlayStation 3 is on, I don't spend a lot of time staring at its menu. And
right.
if I do leave it idling on the menu, I don't want my menu to be distracting, because if it is distracting, I would have just shut the system off. It's like your desktop. It's kind of like your computer desktop. You just kind of have something playing that doesn't distract you when you just let it sit on idle. And do you spend most of your time just staring at your desktop? No, you're doing stuff on the computer. Same thing with my PlayStation. I play a game or use Netflix when my PlayStation is on. I don't stare at its menu all day. So that's why dynamic themes to me just don't do anything.
I mean, I kind of like the way the Xbox One does it, where it's like pick your favorite color, and and especially if you're in a household where multiple people use the Xbox, Like, for instance, I mean, Anthony's going to graduate from college soon, and I'm going to be looking for roommates, so that might be a case with us. Like, I'm pretty sure Anthony isn't going to have the standard green as his.
Yeah, it wouldn't be green.
Yeah,
well, like remember, and this is what I expected from Sony with the PlayStation 4. Remember the PlayStation 3, like before you could customize it, it was like a different color every month?
That was cool. In fact, it still is, if you just leave it there, like I do.
Well, no,
Who does that?
Yeah, well, no, I mean, like, the PlayStation 4, it's always been blue. It's always
I know.
blue.
That would have been cool. The PSP did the same thing, I think. So, I don't
Yeah, and then
We're talking about this for way too long. This is about wallpaper. They basically announced you're allowed to do wallpapers.
Wallpapers that change. And your icons are different.
Ooh.
Like I said, like Final Fantasy 14 was the only one I did. Like, I actually put Final Fantasy 14-ish icons
and change my computer desktop. It's still the Alienware logo.
I have had the same wallpaper on my desktop computer's desktop for the last 3 or 4 years. It's the same wallpaper. Because again, it's like I just want something that looks kind of nice and isn't distracting, and it's good enough. So I'm just gonna keep it the same because it's not like I stare at that desktop all day.
So, I have a piece of news. Nintendo, finally, they announced the new 3DS, which, okay. And then they announced okay, so we all know about the Amiibo figures, which is their version of Skylanders or Infinity, where you scan characters in the game. Those have prices now, finally. They are going to be $19 each. Or not 19, sorry, I was thinking of something else. They're going to be $13 each. Which, that was exactly in the middle of where we guessed. We were guessing 10 to 15. They chose 13. I'm, like, if it was 10, I would probably buy them all, but now I'm going to be a little more selective. Like, I know from that first run they've showed, I'm going to get Mario, I'm going to get Link, Samus, and I'm going to get the Villager because he looks like a serial killer.
Does this look like the face of Mercy?
Does it look like the face of Mercy? No, it does fucking not.
Yeah.
No, Animal Crossing. I'm really looking forward to the new Smash just to beat people with the Villager. Anyway, what's everyone's thoughts on the new 3DS? Is anyone getting one? Is Nick finally getting a 3DS?
No,
You should, man. Mario Kart, Zelda.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. You gotta understand, like, for someone, if I like did public transportation or any, like, here's the thing, portable gaming I've learned that's not for me. Like, yes, and you can play portable gaming in the house, but it's like I don't even have enough time for my PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. It's like 25th, like this end of this year, there's a lot of games like Little Big Planet 3, Drive Club, Sunset Overdrive, the Halo Collection, Destiny. Like, there's so many, Far Cry, like, the list goes on of games I want to play this year, and I know I'm not going to have the opportunity and time to play it. So it's like, and then 2015 just gets even crazier. It's like, I don't have enough time for the PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Why am I even going to try to throw another platform in there?
For me, it's like, I get plenty of handheld time because at work, because I get a 30-minute lunch, 2 10-minute breaks.
See, in that type of circumstance, it's fine. But see, for me, I work at home, so it's like, I'm working, and then when I'm free, I'm busy doing other stuff, or I'll catch up on the games I need to catch up on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One. Like, it's during a slow period, and there's still games, like, I'm playing through Wolfenstein right now. That game came out a while back, but it's like, in a couple months, I'm going to be fully loaded up again.
I mean, like, we're already starting our busy period, because right now I'm reviewing Dance Central, Danganronpa 2, and I guarantee you within a week I'll be doing probably Persona Arena 2, and Persona and Theater Rhythm probably, and then that transfers into October, which is when Bayonetta and I'm reviewing, and then like I think there's another game in there that Borderlands come out, and like it's just continuous up until January. Yeah, that's how this is for us. Also, there's a bee or a wasp that is landed like right on my desk and is just sitting here. Like, he's not flying around, he's not doing anything, he's just like, what's up, Bronson?
He's come after you.
No, he's just sitting there, like, he's like on my drawer where I open it, and I open it, he just sat there. I closed it, he just sat there. So...
Anyways.
Like, I have a pet bee now, guys. It's neat.
So moving along to the last news topic I had, Microsoft is starting to do game trials. Just like I'm surprised we haven't seen that with the PlayStation 4 at least. Like we haven't seen any full retail games, but I'm surprised we haven't at least seen game trials. Where remember with the PlayStation 3, you download the entire game, and you got to play the entire game for an entire hour. So it's actually like it's kind of like an extended demo type of thing. Well, so Microsoft's starting to do the same thing with if you have Xbox Live, but on Wednesday, which is today, Microsoft is doing something a little bit interesting with Forza Motorsport 5. So starting from, actually, sorry, it starts tomorrow. Wait, yeah, it starts tomorrow. From Thursday, September 4th, and lasting until the following Sunday, anyone with Xbox Live can download Forza Motorsport 5 and play the entire game. Entire game, no restrictions at all. September 4th through the following Sunday. Fair enough, Forza Motorsport 5 has almost been out for a year, but it's still the latest Forza game. And for anyone who hasn't played it, that gives them...
They're doing this because this Sunday is like 25 days away from the new one.
I mean, here's the thing, and I applaud this, and I'm looking forward to seeing where it goes, is with PlayStation Plus and Xbox Live, undoubtedly used to be PlayStation Plus was the better value. Like, there's no debating whatsoever. I still believe that's the case. However, Microsoft is making strides. They've started doing the free games with gold. They announced that you get two free Xbox One games every month. So I'm glad to see Sony and Microsoft are finally competing. Well, Sony's always been competing, but I'm glad to see that Microsoft is competing with the value of their online service, because that's going to make Sony in turn compete as well. Because up to this point, with Sony, like I said, we haven't seen a full retail release, and part of that's because all these games are relatively new. And in October, Drive Club comes out, so Xbox Drive, we've already got the games for this month for PlayStation Plus, for PlayStation 4. But Drive Club come out next month, and we know we're going to get the PlayStation Plus edition. And even then, that's not the full game. So it's like, when will we see that full retail release? And like I said, I'm sure NAC is going to be the first one. So Sony needs to go ahead and throw that out there, throw NAC out there, and get it over with.
You look at the prices of those launch games, and finally they're starting to come down. Like, they're $40 instead of $60. And that's like, I plan to pick up on Xbox One Dead Rising and Forza, and then on PS4 I bought.
Yeah, I'm surprised they haven't even thrown games that have been like disasters, like Thief, for example. I think you can get that game for like $20 now. Like, I'm surprised they haven't put like Thief on there.
Well, it's because they don't they actually want to give quality games with these services, so you don't get pissed off.
Oh yeah.
I am fine with free indie games. Like, I've been playing Velocity X2 this entire podcast, and it's awesome. That game, if you have a PS4 or a Vita, go play that shit right now.
I liked Contrast.
Contrast was awesome.
Yeah,
Outlast
Contrast and Resogun, those were both great games.
Resogun was awesome. If you have 3 other people to play it with, which, okay, for PS4 owners, that might be rare.
Towerfall's amazing.
Dude, that game is so good with other people, right?
I told you guys. Before you guys probably even knew what Towerfall was, I was talking about that game.
I knew what it was.
Because that game was exclusive. It was exclusive to the worst platform ever. It was exclusive to the Ouya. Oh man, people bought the Ouya just for Towerfall, because Towerfall's so good. It's so good.
Even the Xbox One, like, Super Time Force is great. Like, I've been playing it the past couple days.
See, Towerfall's gonna be awesome with share play. I'm really excited for that, because, like, for example, like, Bronson and I will be able to go, like, play against each other, even though it's not online multiplayer with share play, where it simulates he's right next to me. We could technically play Towerfall together through share play, which is gonna be pretty awesome.
Yeah. So, oh man. So let's see I'm fine with these indie games. I'm actually kind of happy with it, because, like, I've always wanted to play Super Time Force, but haven't been particularly willing to pay for it. Same thing goes with a lot of these games. And yeah, the biggest indie games are not on there. Like, Transistor is probably tied for my favorite game of the year so far. I finished it fairly recently. And that's not going to be on there for a long fucking time.
They did put Strider on there, though.
Strider was good. Like, that, I thought that game was really good.
Yeah.
What else did they put on there? Outlast was solid.
Yeah, they've put the remastered version of Dead Nation.
Dead Nation, in my opinion, has been the weakest month. That was that like I like Dead Nation, but I'm also kind of like whatever.
What else came out with it that month?
I think there was just Dead Nation.
No, it's are you sure? Oh, maybe at that point they were still doing the Resogun, where they always had Resogun, because it was like Resogun plus one additional game for like 6 months.
You should, if you own a PS4 and you don't have Resogun, you should absolutely go buy it.
Yeah, at this point you have to buy it, which even that's worth it. I think it's $15.
Yeah, like that game is so good. I actually got to talk to the developers at E3. Like I was like, I saw the Resogun show. I'm like, oh yeah, I love that game. I'm like, oh yeah, we're the ones who made it. I was like, ah. Okay, so, yeah, should we move to news stories?
You mean comments?
News stories.
Yeah, comments and questions. Sure, let's go.
All right. First one up is from Cray T, and it says, I agree, Saints Row 4 was a little too much for me, but it was still fun. Excited for the PS4 release and expansion.
Well, that's quite the middle of a road approach right there.
I know, right? He's
doesn't
like,
fully
Bronson
support
and I are
Bronson, but doesn't
dueling
fully
it
support
out.
Nick either.
Bronson and I are dueling it out, and Crazy just comes and joins in the middle. He's like, guys, let's reach a middle ground here.
So
it's like, let's make a compromise.
Sorry, that game's just not good.
Game is so great. Fucking just, and now the expansion, you fight Satan.
I'm excited. I'm excited for the expansion. I'll say that. I have hope. Hope they don't let me down.
Fight Satan as Johnny Gat. What could you want? Let's see. So next up is from Kyo Tenchi. Was about to buy a 3DS last week for $70 on Radio Shack clearance, plus 25% off 3DS deal to save cash for. But now I'll decide to save the cash for headphones instead. If you're looking for headphones, Kyo Tenchi, I recommend Astros. I love mine. Guess I'll wait until next year with the new 3DS. Read a few articles, and the only new 3DS games that will only be strictly ports from older consoles like Wii and GameCube. Henshin a Go-Go. I think he's alluding to the fact that Beautiful Joe could be on it, and dear God, Anthony, that'd be something to get me to buy the new 3DS. They're like Beautiful Joe portable.
I mean, I'm already gonna get a new 3DS anyway, because I'm just gonna like sell my old 3DS to a family member, and then get the new 3DS because you think about it. If I sell my 3DS for $70, and then I get the new 3DS for $100, that's actually still cheaper than 2 brand new PlayStation 4 games. So, to me, it's like...
Anthony, if you end up with a new 3DS before you buy a PS4, I am going to be upset. I am going to be very angry.
But the new 3DS doesn't happen until, mid or late 2015, right? That's the guess?
Yes.
And to be honest, I know I will get a PS4 in 2015, for sure, if I don't get one in 2014. If I don't get one this year, it'll definitely be next year.
I think Metal Gear is going to be the thing that gets you to cave, oddly enough.
It could.
They haven't announced a release date on that yet, though, have they?
No, they haven't.
I'm going to say 2015.
Well, yeah, it's 2015, but they haven't announced, if it's going to come during the early part, the mid, or the late. I think it'll come out in the summer like they did with Metal Gear Solid 4.
That would be nice. We need more games during the summer.
Okay, so... continuing on with it. Can't wait until Fairy Fencer RPG comes out. Story sounds like fun to play. Been trying to find another video interview since I heard of your E3 interview. I've been searching on Google and YouTube, yet yours is the only one that have an interview. Either way, I can't wait for this game. See,
that's funny.
I got to see Bronson pushing this Japanese game agenda. Did you a favor?
We're the only ones
so
with a
we should go back and relabel it an
That's
exclusive
hilarious.
interview, right? Because if we're the only ones who even interviewed for this, we technically have the exclusive E3 interview of Fairy Fencer out.
That's hilarious. We're the only ones with the interview that game.
This is why I'm always like, hey guys, we should cover more indie games in Japan. Hey guys, we should really cover more indie games in Japan.
I mean, the thing is that when we cover something like Far Cry 4, just about everyone has already beaten us to the punch. So, not that, not interviewing a Far Cry 4 is, it's not that it's bad that we're interviewing Far Cry 4, it's just that everyone else already knows about it.
We absolutely have to cover major releases, but we should also cover this stuff too, because it doesn't get press and people come to our site for it. Anyway, I may be the only one in North America to buy this instead of Destiny. If Kyrie had a PlayStation 4, she'd buy one.
Wouldn't it be crazy if I'm like, are you here to buy Destiny? No, I'm here to buy Theater Rhythm and Hyrule Warriors. What? You're not buying Destiny? No, I'm sorry, I don't have a PlayStation. But you have a PS3? Yes, but I don't care right now.
Let's see. Do you think Hyrule Warriors... And last question is, do you think Hyrule Warriors be Destiny better than Dynasty Warriors solely because of the Zelda influence rather than the Three Kingdoms lore? Some people on my friends list are crazy about Gundam Warriors, but don't give a damn about Dynasty Warriors. Kyotenshi, you spelled lore wrong. It's Lore. And
Bronson's always correcting people.
And man, I'm
sorry, but you probably you know how you tend to read comments literally.
Yeah.
Lour.
Should I have pronounced it lore or lour?
I mean, it's spelled kind of like sour or flower.
Okay. The Lour of Dynasty Warriors. All right.
Yeah, but we understand it's lore.
I think that here's been my take on Dynasty Warriors ever since it came out. I like one game like this a generation. So if it's going to be one that has Zelda influences, that's great. I don't get the people who will play, every single one of those in a generation. But, I like 99 Nights. I liked Dynasty Warriors, 2 or 3 on the PS2 or whatever it was. I'm down for this.
My personal opinion, will it be better than Dynasty Warriors? Considering that some Dynasty Warrior games are absolutely awful from critic ratings, because I looked it up. Yeah, I think that because the team is being supervised by some people at Nintendo, I'm sure that it will at least turn out okay. Which means that it should not be bad.
If that means anything, it was fun at E3. If that means anything, I guess.
I mean, it was kind of fun at E3, but my main concern is that because it's so fast paced and so intense, where you're kind of chucking a gazillion bombs and blasting 500 enemies all at once in this crowded field. It's really cool for 5 minutes, but it could dry out really hard, and that's my main concern. But considering this game is supervised by some of the people at Nintendo, I think it'll be at least it'll be okay. It'll be alright. I mean, I don't feel like it's gonna be an exceptionally awesome game, but it won't be too bad. That's gonna be the minimum. Gundam Warriors. I don't know if that's a Dynasty Warriors game, but with
it's Dynasty Warriors, but with Gundam.
Well, if you think about it, Dynasty Warriors with giant mech robots does sound pretty darn awesome. Personal opinion. I haven't watched Gundam in so long; it's been decades. Okay.
Cool.
All right. Well, that's that.
All right. Anything else before we close it out?
That'll be it.
All right, guys. Well, thank you all for listening to Unscripted Access, episode number 103. Please leave your comments and questions. We will be sure to respond and read on the show. Please be sure to subscribe to us on iTunes. Check out the website. We always have new content posted there. My AOS Ice Bucket Challenge has gone up. Anthony Taz should be soon since I challenged him. So looking forward to that.
And we're dumping for Anthony. It's the ice cooler challenge.
Yeah, while Bremen, John, and Bronson get a tiny little sand bucket, and Nick gets a little tiny water jug. The only thing that I can find in my house that kind of resembles a bucket is a giant cooler. So that's a lot of extra ice and cold water in there. That's gonna be great. Yeah.
All right, guys, we're on YouTube, Facebook, iTunes. Go like, share, etc.
Yes, please. It helps us out. So, awesome. Thank you guys for listening. We'll be back next week. We're out.
All right, bye.
Bye.
We love you.